enough money to go, and he's now on his way over to Pod. It looks like we've got prdwong is going to be heading up to Zora and checking the rest over there, as we're now back on the main site there. So welcome on back. As you can see, DieselMartini's got the 128 rupees, and prdwong is on the way up to Zora.
Yeah, while we were down, we did find a sword. We did find a master sword. We were discussing that it's still possible. It might be, if the seed turned out to be an Aga seed, then my guess is that that was the bow that we needed in order to at least get that one bow that we needed, if it was hard expert. And there's still the possibility of Deestown and Catfish that would lead to an Aga seed if there wasn't the bow. If they do hold the bow, then prdwong is holding the silver arrow bow, and we are in at least normal mode. In general normal mode.
Yeah. So what I'm thinking is, if the bow that we found is in the back of Escape there, that would be out of logic, and technically you wouldn't have been able to get that without using like a bunny revive glitch to get that one. And the game will never expect you to be doing that. So chances are there is still a bow hiding around here somewhere.
I'm gonna check out. There was a question in chat like a while ago about DieselMartini sprites. It is Celeste.
Right. My guess here is that we've had access up to Dark Death Mountain for quite a while now, and I don't believe either runner went ahead and checked that. I wouldn't be surprised if we found something in Hookshot Cave or something like that.
Yeah, for sure. And it looks like prdwong is gonna head over to our good friend the Witch. It's going to give us get the mushroom and get rewarded.
Oh, DieselMartini saved and quit before he sequence broke the pearl out of the back of Pod. That's gonna hurt. So he's gonna end up going the long way here.
Yeah, and that could mean something. I don't know. My hope is that Diesel saw that it was Bolot and might be looking for a bow. Maybe within Thieves Town, at the first, at a chest that's not the big chest of Thieves Town, or Catfish.
Yeah, I mean there are here for places, things. It looks like DieselMartini is going to get his way up into Dark Death Mountain, and that is going to be, I mean, he'll be able to go and save the old man, and then hopefully he's going to have to entertain Hyrule's favorite sport, Lionel dodging.
Right, and also to answer another question in chat, the Celeste Buddy Sprite is a Moogle from Final Fantasy. I think it was Final Fantasy, right?
Yeah, it's Final Fantasy.
I started getting the Final Fantasy through the randomizer, but whatever. Yeah, there's a lot of good sprite options. There's there's tons of sprites, like over 200 sprites. Ways to customize your game. It's very nice. One of my favorite sprites is the Cadence sprite from Crypt of the Necrodancer, or also Cadence of Hyrule, because it's a Crypt of the Necrodancer crossover.
Oh yeah, I've seen that more than a few times over at AGDQ and SGDQ, and they're always kind of fun to watch there. I love the kind of mix between the two games here, as prdwong is into Eastern Palace looking to pick up crystal number 2 for him.
And yeah, this is correct.
Oh, it's still her wedding dress.
Oh, never mind. Oh, that's Maria. Oh, Maria. Okay. I thought I thought it was a Moogle. Kind of. Yeah, interesting.
I really thought it was a Moogle too. Oh well. Yeah, I thought it mixed up with something else.
Yeah, the point still remains. There's a lot of good sprites out there. I like Cadence sprite too. It's the original Crypt of the Necrodancer sprite for her bunny state.
All right, we're gonna get a spec rock check here on Diesel's as prdwong is making their way back in here. It finds the big key in that chest in Eastern Palace, and it's gonna it's probably gonna be he finds item that his last item in this big chest. They're probably not gonna get that lucky. Does get a heart piece, but we look to be moving around, so he was probably doing a better job counting than what I got. And we found the flute in Eastern Palace apparently.
Yeah, this is great for prdwong. This will give him access to the mire area, because the flute works in the dark world. It's kind of similar. I mean, it's similar in vein to if you did the major glitch known as YBA, or Use a Harvest Bottle Adventure, where you're able to use the flute in the dark world. But in this version, where everything's inverted, you are able to use the flute in the dark world without any repercussions, or at least having not showing having a bird in the dark world, because you started in the dark world anyway, and the same thing it goes. You can't use the flutes in the light world because that's technically the dark world, and yeah. So prdwong heading over to the back, gonna be able to get that second crystal.
Right, yeah, he'll be getting too, and then in that case, probably activate that flute. Not having a medallion for misery. Chat is point. You do have to act flute in the light world, so it is actually, it's not as good as you would think. As DieselMartini, unfortunately, was not able to dodge the Lionels, and it's going to have to try one more time. The trick to go ahead. Sorry, bud.
Yeah, the one thing about the Dark World too, about Limburger 2, is you go on the mountain, you would just end up at the end of the Old Man Cave that you would have to take. You would go the way up through that, or some people call it it's actually sometimes called the Ascension Cave, because that's what it says on Big Dunga's tracker. But yeah, if doing that is not a bad idea, and prdwong taking down those Armos Knights, and it's gonna get crystal number 2.
Yeah, and DieselMartini is going to take their second attempt to get through these Lionels here. Now it's got the hook shot out, and it's gonna. Now, if they run now, they're going to be fine. The biggest thing is you can take fireball damage from those Lionels there, and that doesn't hurt so much. But if you take any sort of body damage from them, then you're gonna end up getting absolutely bodied here, and especially if you've got 4 hearts, a single shot from those Lionels will just knock you out.
For sure. So DieselMartini checking out Super Bunny, just 10 arrows and 20 rupees.
And prdwong is now going to make their way down towards the lake again. Have to see where he's going to go. He might be taking the lake portal down over here, the whirlpool that people typically don't use here, but this will also put him right up next to the village again.
And we find out over on DieselMartini's side that we need Ether to enter Turtle Rock as one of the possibilities. For a reference point of what we've known so far, we know that it's Sword Assured, Sword Assured Expert. There's a book on DieselMartini's side, and there's the other Master Sword. So looks like we're dealing with normal setup. And there's the other bow, and that is actually the actual bow that we need. So confirmed, this is normal mode or normal difficulty.
Right, and that bow will sit there, and that means that we're looking at this not actually being an Agaseed. The biggest difference that you see if you're looking at the difference between the two trackers, prdwong having pretty much almost every item known to man, and DieselMartini not having them, is when prdwong was in pod, he went ahead and used the potion glitch to go ahead and break a little bit deeper into pod, where he found the moon pearl sitting in there, and he was able to pair that moon pearl with his hook shot that he got, and got himself the hammer, and then that hammer led to pretty much everything else. So that is one of the biggest reasons for DieselMartini's lead. I mean, not DieselMartini's lead, prdwong's lead right now. That and prdwong had DieselMartini had some misadventures with both money and bombs in the early game.
Looks like I made a mistake here. So we still don't know if this is normal or not. We found at least 3 swords. We know it's not expert mode.
And if it was hard mode, prdwong has 11. The maximum amount of you can have on hard mode is 14. So if this is actually hard mode here, we're going to start running into some big 20s really quickly. I mean, green 20s is what I mean to say.
Yes. Nothing found on prdwong's side. On Checkerboard Cave, and now we're going to head over to Agina's Cave.
Gonna have to see if we've got anything of interest in here, as DieselMartini is gonna get the bad news here pretty quickly that, oh man, I really should have bottle glitched. Although in his defense, I don't know if he still had that red potion on him at the time. And where is in that question? Up the mountain would be a good idea.
Heading back for Village of Outcasts, planning to go and clear out Skull Woods.
It's definitely a good idea on his side for sure. Now DieselMartini did find the book, and the book is kind of it's kind of like the ice rod in a normal seed, or the ice rod in this for that matter, because one of the tricks with inverted is that you 100% require that book if Desert Palace is a crystal, and it is today. So that's actually, finding that book was a very nice find for DieselMartini there. Good chance that prdwong ends up finding it as well, because it is in Hookshot Cave. I don't think he'll skip that forever.
Yeah, and this will confirm or deny if we are dealing with hard mode or normal mode, as soon as prdwong goes over to Hookshot Cave and gets the book.
Yeah, there'll be another sword in there for him to get as well, and some other stuff, so we should pretty much... I think at this point it's pretty fair to say that we're just dealing with a regular normal mode. It doesn't look like these guys rolled too many crazy seeds. If you're looking for crazy seeds, you need to go. There might still be another race going on one of the other channels right now that had just some of the worst seeds one of the worst logics progressions that I've ever seen.
Yeah, and this is one of the more tougher. I mean, it's coming to the point of the league where we're not in Kansas anymore. Let's just say we have done with the easier stuff. We did open. We did Ambrosia. We have done Enemizer Wall, and while that is in itself kind of, I mean, just going from someone that had not played a lot of Enemizer, is fairly tricky. This is the point in the league where we're transitioning from instead of like the normal stuff into the more complex parts of this, the more complex types. prdwong finishing off Makta.
And that will be crystal number 3 of on prdwong's side here. So, yeah, at this point, it is just a matter of him picking up basically a couple more crystals there, and he'll be able to start climbing GT. Now, looking over what he's missing right now. Right now, assuming that he makes his way up into the mountain here in just a few minutes, he'll be able to pick up his book, and that will give him access to five crystals. We need 6 to be able to defeat Ganon today, but 5 is all we need to climb.
Yes.
So, chances are we're going to be, assuming that prdwong is able to get the book without any issue there, he's going to be looking for either the mirror or the ice rod for his go mode.
DieselMartini heading up the mountain now. Finally getting that moon pearl. Finally got the moon pearl out of pod. It's climbing his way over to climb up that mountain. Gonna go and get that hammer and fire rod from the Paradox Cave, and that for him now, at least the sea can now properly open up. I mean, as if it's already opened up already from the arrow game. And the other item here in Skull Woods is just 20 rupees. So the only thing is of use, the only thing of worth here is just that crystal.
Yeah, it doesn't look like Skull Woods is going to be helpful for. Anyway, going to be moving over to back to pod here, knock off crystal number, and then he's got options. With no mirror, there's you can go do the smiths if you really want to. It's going to be slow. There's also hammer pegs. There's the entire smith chain that can be done right now, but other than that, it's I imagine the mountain, Dark Death Mountain, at some point will have to start calling to him.
For sure. And as we are approaching the hour mark, it's about perfect time to say that these runners are getting their name out there and representing the league very well, especially in something like a mystery seed. And you should definitely give them a nice wholeheartedly follow. DieselMartini and prdwong. And our track for the day is Ecker. I want to say that again. Our restreamer is MathCrill718. I'm Professor Renderer, and DazeCloud is with me as well. Definitely should check that out. Definitely give them a good shot. Give them all of them follow, because we have 64 teams in the league, made up of in total 192 players. Split in 3 amongst the 64 teams. One of them will be the ultimate winner, and at least 2 hours a week. At least a rough estimate of 2 hours precede a rough estimate of a week's worth of rando. So definitely stick around and enjoy the week. As we coming up next week, we will enter Cross Keys. Cross Keys week is going to be very exciting to watch. This will definitely put a lot of their ability, test their ability to do tracking entrances and keys at the same time.
Yeah, I think you might be undershooting the time needed for the week there, because that's going to be 2 hours. If you can do a cross key seed in 2 hours, you have to very yourself.
Yeah, for sure.
I'm looking forward to next week. It's gonna be a lot of fun, though.
Yeah, it's for sure. And anyway, prdwong is gonna go and head over to the back of pods. Gotta deal with these terrapins, and then eventually meet up with the Helmstar King.
DieselMartini deciding to use his sword spins there and mimic. Hammers usually just work just fine. Purdy Wong had found the flute over in Eastern Palace here not too long ago, and that's one reason why he's been able to move around the Hyrule here fairly quickly. Now, one thing that we do have to add in is we don't actually know at the moment if Desert Palace is going to be boots locked or not, and that's one thing that could throw both of these runners off there fairly easily, because we might be, at that point, we might have to go into the back of a couple of these more difficult dungeons here. As Pretty Wong looks to be setting up Helmasaur here pretty well. Gets one spin and 6 arrows into his jewel, and he is exploding. It's going to give him crystal number 4.
So now Purdy One has options, like you mentioned. Now there's okay, so actually looking over on DieselMartini's side, it's gonna go and check out the ether tablets, because he does have that book in hand to pick that up from Hookshot Cave. And just 20 rupees.
Yeah, nothing too much there. I mean, unless you're gonna find something or ether tablet, you're pretty much using that book for getting into Desert Palace today. Luckily for our runners there, getting into Desert Palace, you're gonna walk right by the Bombos tablet, and another one of those changes, like we mentioned, to inverted is there's just a stairway right up to the Bombos tablet, so you don't have to deal with trying to factor in when do I mirror up there or any of that. Now, you just, on your way to Desert Palace, you take 2 seconds, walk up the stairs, go check your Bombos tablet, see if you get something useful. As Purdy Wong is very good at Lionel dodging there, doesn't even take a hit.
Okay, so this will be the big playthrough. This will be the more important thing for us. Purdy One is going to get the book. We know that there's another bow within Hookshot Cave along with the Master Sword. This will either if we find 20 single rupees, then we know we are in hard mode. If we find silver arrows, then we know that it is normal mode. As to answer a question in chat alongside it, the current settings we have is Assured Sword inverted, 5 sticks, defeat Ganon, no Enemizer, no Key Sanity, no Enter Shuffle.
Just a good old Enemizer, not Enemizer, good old fun seed here. Get a heart container. Long. It's going to give him arrows. 12 hearts there as we pick up our book. There's our tempered sword. And moment of truth, we are in normal mode. That is just the silver arrow, so easy life there for the runners today. I say kind of jokingly.
Yeah.
Pretty Wong on his side there. It looks like we're going to get ourselves a little spike cave check.
And DieselMartini taking a death with on the way over to get the that key, or just get the big key out of the back of Hera. So, and it looks like Diesel might is going to go for that Hera pot.
Yeah, it looked like he was trying it earlier there. Looks like he's got the setup this time. It hooks in, presses left, and then goes up down the pot and to the back.
And Purdy One, unfortunately, did not have enough hearts to get that spike cave check out of the way. He's willing to switch to that. He's willing to switch over to the Cane of Burna. Was busy grabbing the pot and grabbing the block, and did take a death.
That's a shame. There is like a heart's worth of lag there between the time that you hit the button and the time that the cane actually becomes active, and I think he pushed that just a little too long. And that's it. That's a bit of a shame there, but Hopefully, there's nothing there for him, but we'll have to see. That could actually turn into a way for DieselMartini to get back in this race.
prdwong heading over to Desert Palace.
We get to find out right now if we're going to be boots locked or if we're just going to be sitting here and moseying on towards Ganon's Tower in a minute. And we be moseying. That's a big key.
Now the one thing that is still a possibility is, of course, because we know that it is defeat Ganon. That we still have to kill Aga 2 in order to finish up the sea, and that means we have to find the big key within Ganon's Tower.
Right.
It's still possible that we need to find the boots in order to finish off the seed.
Well, what's also possible is that we could end up with that big key hiding somewhere in the right side of GT. If it's locked behind Samaria, well then we're going to be looking for Samaria, because there's no way to go up and climb that tower without getting that big key.
Yeah, and that is for sure. So prdwong heading over to the back of Desert Palace, gonna take on the Lambo fight, and we will also have we will have a guessing game. So don't guess just yet.
I guess we can have a guessing game. It's gonna be I don't know if it's gonna be the easiest guessing game that we'll be able to have, because we will have a chance that the big key will be locked. In which case we will be pausing the guessing game for as long as it takes to find that Samaria, I suppose.
Or boots.
Or boots, yeah. Anyway,
prdwong is gonna go and fight on the Lambos. It's gonna pull out the silver arrows. It'll be a 1-2-3, provided it doesn't miss. Very nice. And okay, there we go. We also we're thinking about it too. We still need to find a mirror, and at least a mirror or an ice rod or an ether. Because we still need to get. We have 6 crystals to defeat Ganon, and we're currently at 5. So we have those 5 crystals, and yeah, prdwong's gonna make their way over. Inside Ganon's Tower, there are 22 locations where the big key could be. Of course, there's still the possibility that we have to find it over on we find it on the find the Samaria or boots. There's the mirror, so we have access to Swamp.
So that's go mode there for prdwong at 1 hour and 10 minutes then. Well, there we go. All right, so then let's hold off on doing that big key guessing game, because we can actually do it right now, kind of. Pending Samaria.
Still we're looking for Samaria. That's the big thing too. So we're in Schrodinger's for now, and DieselMartini gonna go and check out Lake Hylia Island. Just a heart container, but any heart container is good for DieselMartini. So here we go. prdwong heading over to Swamp Palace.
Yeah, and it's kind of a shame over there for DieselMartini right now. It's just you could see from the moment that we started the seed and we started in inverted mode, you could kind of see he was just uncomfortable in the mode. He didn't really know like where to go, what to do at the time, and he was just kind of sitting there going, well, I guess there was just a lot of hesitation on what he was trying to do, and it took him quite a long time here to go ahead and find some bombs and find some money there, and that ended up putting him quite a significant area behind prdwong. Now prdwong on the other side, making that sequence break when he did to get into the back of Pod, just broke the seed right open for him. So he is in great shape pending this Ganon's Tower big key.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, and as we are climbing, counting down the last few minutes, days of this seed, potentially, we don't know that if we need to find the cane or to progress through. Now, okay, so I like what prdwong's gonna do. He's gonna do a glitch that was recently unbanned by the Racing Council, and that is Diver Down. It lets you skip the third water switch, and it's going to use the bomb strats because you can do this with bombs. You can do it with a cane as well. It involves just clipping into the railing, and through there, and you should be there you go. It lets you clip through the railing and hop down, and you don't have to waste you save a lot of time doing. Save a lot of time from having to hit the switch and waiting for the water to drain out and check the flooded chests.
Oh, definitely there. It is a big time save there. Just being able to clip into that rail and kind of seeing the hilarious thing where your sprite just kind of pulls a water walk there, because the game doesn't actually check for there being water collusion unless you actually go down the ladder.
Yeah, it's a very weird stick because it has water layers are kind of weird in Swamp from what I've heard about. Yeah, answer a question in chat. prdwong sprite is the Garo Master from Majora's Mask, and DieselMartini is Celeste from Final Fantasy.
Alright, gets that silver arrow into Argus there, and that's going to be crystal number 6. And should we get this thing started?
Yeah, for sure. Now, inside Ganon's Tower, that is also in Aga Tower, there are 22 locations where the big key could potentially be. Of course, barring the potential of it being a cane or boots locked. Get your guesses in chat where you think the big key might be.
Alright, now chat, hold on a second here. Let's actually get this, take a second here to get the start there. Now get your guesses into chat. Gotta wait for the command there. And go ahead and get your numbers in there. So, Professor Render, what are you feeling today? What's your number?
I'm gonna say 4 because that's how many attempts that I did from. I'm saying 4 because that's the exact number of attempts that I had to do in order to defeat Hammer Coldstare in my last seed.
Ooh, oh, that's awful. I'm just gonna go with a 10 because it's always 10.
Yeah, going over that rando room side if that is the case. So yeah, here we go. It's gonna be actually a lot quicker. Can't really say my little thing that I usually do, but 21 tests and a torch separates prdwong from getting the big key and finishing the seed. Let's do this.
Alright, we're gonna start with Hope Room first here, and I think you're gonna have to put in that stop command there when you get a chance. First 2 chests coming up, we're gonna see ourselves a small key and the powder. So there's one more place that Samaria could be.
For sure, and so that's part of it. So is it on the torch to make it a little bit easier? No. So there's still the possibility of Samaria being on the torch, or Samaria being what we need for the game.
Yeah, I mean, boots, I don't remember if we got both items out of Desert Palace, but that would be at this point, one of the few ways that we could actually still require boots, but...
There's a mirror shield for number 6. Number 7 is the ice rod.
Okay, so you were 100% gonna get that mirror. to complete this game. This was another one of those fun reduced crystal things where you think you might get to choose which crystals you get to do, but the game's like, no, you're doing these crystals and these crystals only. As next one is, let's see, that would be chest number 8, there being a shovel, it looked like.
And to answer a question in chat, after running it through my head a bit, I can say that Pedestal should be dead because of Meyer being a pendant.
I mean, yeah, I can't think of anything that we would do. It's also there is a chance that it. Oh no, see, even Turtle Rock, you can still get into the back of it. Yeah, so like, yeah, we are 100% dead on the pedestal here. But I mean, being in Ganon's Tower, it pretty much made that pretty clear.
Yeah, because if the boots were, because of those boots, because of the heart container on the torch, that would have killed the pedestal.
Well, I mean, I think there is a possible way, but it would require like the cane to be in like King's Tomb or Bonk Rocks, and boots to be on the pedestal.
Right.
I think that is like the one possible way that Ped could still be alive. But let's not be getting our hopes up for that one.
Yeah, and we're suddenly running out of checks here.
Oh,
for prdwong. There is still Bob's torch and the Ice Armos.
And yeah, GFE's putting me right in chat there. Yeah, if Misery Mire is a pedestal, you kind of still need that the Cane of Samaria to, you know, do things.
Yeah. So prdwong, because he doesn't have the boots, is gonna do the bomb jump. It's one of the more hit before getting hit by that beetle. It's a jump that I don't really understand. I don't understand how it works. Like, because you're jumping into like thin air because of the invisible tiles.
Yeah, that one is like probably the freest bomb jump in the game, honestly. Like, you don't have to do anything else. As we find the big key back there, right in Bob's chest. Now, I was not counting, but doing some math in my head, that would be number 13?
We had two items, chest, 2 items in Hope. Then, yeah, it should be 14.
Right. All right, so 14 is our winner today. Morbus99, congratulations on winning the GT Big Key guessing game. You have earned yourself a good 13 points today. If you are interested, you can put the command in to see the leaderboard and see where you match up versus the rest of the group on the ALTTPR League the ALTTPR League channel.
Yeah, and it was actually the closest answer too. It was a closest answer of 13, resulting in the victory of 14 points. Ironic, since the key was in 14. So let's start the gauntlet for prdwong.
Now he's got only green mail, so he's got to be a little careful with climbing up this. But chances are he's done this more than a couple of times, so shouldn't have too many issues with that. Although that one Zizak deciding he's going to go for a walk is always kind of annoying. And off to Landmo 2 we go, as prdwong just went right through that gauntlet without really any problem here. Misses the 0 cycle, but he's going to be able, looks like he's going to be getting set up for the 1 cycle here pretty good. Pops another silver arrow in the 3rd Landmo, and we're up the rest of the way to the tower, as DieselMartini is still looking for what to do next.
Yeah, and it's gonna go and grab that. It's gonna go check out the mushroom as prdwong making their way through the wizrobe rooms. No Kane, of course, so we have to do this pretty slow and arguably the intended route.
Yeah, that's always not particularly the most fun way to do it there. I gotta be a little careful here. Wisely taking the hook shot and stunning those guards there. Like, one of the worst things that can happen is if you get knocked off, there is a small chance you could get what we call 1.0'd in this game, where you fall off, take a heart of damage there, and then take another more damage from something coming over you and hitting you while you're falling. That's something that was patched in like the North American releases of the game, but the randomizer is based off of the Japanese 1.0 version there, and it's something you got to be careful for. It's a terrible feeling when you jump down like a pit and then you get pulled out of it by a wall master or something like that.
Yeah, it's I think it's because of there isn't really invulnerability in that state, and when you're following states, it just assumes that it's you have you fall and you don't have any iframes at the time, so we're not going to give you iframes. prdwong, however, going to go and fight off against a land mode too. Will basically be a pretty standard NMG fight, discounting silver arrows, of course. So down goes Moldorm 2, and
DieselMartini.
Yeah,
he showed ourselves. Hey, this is Ganon's back door. Oh, okay.
Yeah, because that was added in with Inverted as well, because since both Ganon's Tower and Ganon's Dropdown coexist in the same area, there is a little sign there. There's a little there's a drop down exit that if you were to fall down, you would end up there. It's arguably, I would say, faster compared to a normal mode where you have to climb the tower all over again. And
that's a good question. I'm not 100% sure on that. I know that outside of the pyramid there is the one bonkable fairy tree, which kind of makes that nice, but I imagine it's probably slower because of the screen transitions, but I have no idea, honestly. I've never measured it.
Yeah, me neither. But prdwong finishes up Agate 2, and it's going to go and drop down into that Ganon flight. Put it into this normal, inverted, sword assured, 5/6, defeat Ganon, no Animizer, no entrance, no key sanity, seed.
Yep, pretty little standard one here, as prdwong actually gets an amazing little Ganon location for phase 2 there. If Ganon sits up there in that top right corner, you can just go ahead and hit him with a couple of spin slashes, and that'll be all she wrote.
Yeah, the 2-1 cycle is actually the best spot, the best run, the one I can really do. I can't really do the 1-1 cycle, but it's because it's a lot more trickier for me to do it. I'm not really too sure how to do the try. I can't really do the try and spin consistently. So on to phase 3 for prdwong. And as I say that, we are on to phase 4. Silver's our history is.
And down goes prdwong. Ganon giving him one fire bat, and now we get to measure exactly how much time it takes for prdwong to climb back up.
All right, starting from here, let's see, 126.30.
Indeed. What a clown parade, indeed.
Looks like it's at least 25 seconds.
Yeah, we're gonna take another attempt on this Ganon fight here. prdwong has got just a massive advantage here right now. So like at this point, he could probably go away, make a sandwich, and still be able to take this race. Just his familiarity with inverted here has really paid off.
Yeah, and the interesting thing about Mystery is that it definitely gives a lot of players it gives some players like myself who haven't rolled a mystery seed in my life, or have rolled mystery seeds, and gives you a chance to explore a lot of the interesting things, interesting stuff, like all the different modes that you could play in randomizer. You have inverted, you have standard, you have entrant. Of course, you have the standard open. You have the different sword options. You have swordless mode. You have entrance. Key Sandy, which is going to come down later in the line with the co-pilot seed. It will be Spoiler Key Sandy with a co-pilot.
Yeah, that one's going to be fun there. That'll be week 6 coming up here pretty soon. That's going to be a great, fun week there as well. Those are going to be fast, and incredibly hectic seeds for the two teams to be handling there. And we're into phase 4 on prdwong's side, taking a little bit of a time there to go, you know what, I'm not going to get knocked off again.
Yeah, he's got one more shot to do, and that is going to do it. Get your GGs in chats for prdwong. And all he's got to do is cross 1x3 bridge, and he will finish off this seed and taking the win for Clown Parade. Gonna get 12 points on the board, and he has done so with an official SRL time of 1:29 flat.
Yeah, that's a great thing on his side. And DieselMartini, almost immediately after seeing that, went ahead and popped in the forfeit as well. So get your GGs in chat for both of the runners here. And sounds like we are actually going to be joined in chat first here by prdwong there. Get GGs there, bud.
GG.
GGs, I guess.
So, well, first, give us your thoughts on the seed there. Looked like you were a little bit more opponent us today.
Okay, sure. But I didn't know that while I was racing. I think at the beginning, going into this, I was like, the worst thing for me would be to get an inverted entrance seed, because I don't have that much experience with that at all. And I would say my worst mode is probably inverted. I'm just not very good at it. So when I saw at the very beginning that it's inverted, I'm like, okay, here we go.
And we are also joined by DieselMartini. GG. If you're there.
Yeah, it did sound like in the IRC chat, IRC there, it looked like DieselMartini might have been having a little trouble getting his mic working there. If you can hear us, go ahead and jump in at any time, and we'll be able to talk to you as well there. So, prdwong, about that Moon Pearl there, that was a big find for you early.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, I thought with the potion that it was likely Diesel would also probably get that early. The thing that it did to me, though, was that I was like, okay, so whatever's up in the Dark Death Mountain has to be a bow over there, or something that leads to the bow in order to get the pearl, I figured. I mean, I guess it could have been Agaseed, but I was pretty sure there was like a bow there. And I was like, well, I found another bow, so I don't really want to go back there. And then at the end, when I went there and found the book, I was like, uh-oh. My Diesel could have had this a long time ago if he like followed the logic correctly. And then when the book led to the mirror, I was like, no.
Oh, we were sitting there that when you got your 5th crystal there out of desert, we were getting ready for you to head into GT, and just start rooting around in there to see if you could find the items you needed to, either finish Turtle Rock or Swamp there, and then you immediately hit that Bombos tablet and that mirror dropped, and we're like, oh, never mind, you're in go mode now.
Yep. I mean, that was definitely the plan to go into GT, and I was like, this tablet's right in my way. Let's just check it.
Yeah, that was definitely convenient there for a convenient routing for sure. Yeah, unfortunately, the biggest difference between this is you kind of say that you weren't so familiar with inverted, and it's probably the one that you were hoping to play the least. It did seem that you had at least some better idea of some of the opening strategies, where DieselMartini unfortunately had a bit more trouble trying to find bombs and finding money and things like that. So you had probably within the first 20 minutes jumped out to a pretty sizable lead.
Yeah, I could see that. I mean, so we talked a little bit afterwards, and he said this was, I think, his first inverted. So I could definitely see that as a handicap. I mean, like, I can play inverted, like, it's fine. I'm just saying, out of all my modes, it is my weakest. But it's not like I didn't have any experience with it. Even still, like, at the very beginning, like, I forgot my opening strat. Like, I should have dropped down to get bombs, but instead I went in the wrong entrance, and then when I did get my bombs, like, I didn't remember how to get bombs effectively. I died one time without picking up any bombs, so it got off. I felt like it got off to already a little bit of a rough start.
Yeah, all in all, it does unfortunately look like DieselMartini was mic fixed, so we're probably not going to get to hear from him today. But again, GG's to DieselMartini. Good effort there. Unfortunately, not able to get the win there, but moreover, congratulations to you, prdwong, and congratulations to your team there, Clown Parade. You're going to have 12 points on the season. Now, about next week, you guys got some cross keys coming up there, so you want to share some strategies? Who's going to be running that for your team?
I think it's not going to be me. Like, entrance is kind of similar to inverted for me. Like, I can do them, but I feel like compared to the top runners, like, I'm missing a lot of the strategy. So I decided to just step out. I think Shireen and Dracaris are like a tier above me in entrance, so they're probably going to handle it.
Well, yeah, Dracaris is known very well as a pretty high-level entrance runner, and Shireen's, he's fine, I guess. But yeah, so you should have a pretty fun week coming up for you guys next week. So that's going to put you guys up to 12 points on the season there. Yeah, any kind of final thoughts? Any comments?
Nope. I mean, I panicked there at the end, definitely. I thought, Diesel could have just, because I spent all that time, like, basically clearing the whole overworld and going through, clearing out all the different dungeons, and I didn't find anything. I was like, man, if Diesel picked the right path, then I'm hosed. And then I fell down during Ganon. I was like, this is it, I'm dead. All sorts of thoughts running through my head at the end there. But I guess it worked out.
Well, yeah, all's well that ends up with a win there, that's for sure. Well, one more time, GG's to you. Also, GG's to DieselMartini on the great race there today. This has been a lot of fun. Again, big shout outs to Ikir, our tracker today, who was behind the scenes here and clicking all the buttons for us, making sure that everybody could follow exactly what we were, what the runners had picked up and such. Also, massive shout outs as always to Math Girl for basically restreaming this, getting all of the runners set up and getting this all ready to go. Again, huge thank you to my co-commentator today, Professor Renderer, who made it so that I didn't have to sit here and talk to myself for 2 hours, which is always nice. I have been Dazed Cloud, and if you want to, go ahead, and there's going to be tons more races coming up here. Professor Render, why don't you take the last word for the day? I'm signing off.
Okay, so if you guys want more ALTTPR League, definitely follow the ALTTPR League and the ALTTPR League 2 through 4, and as well as our providers, other providers, Speed Gaming and Speed Gaming 2 through 6. I'm gonna go and wait for the next ladder match, so next ladder seed to come up, and maybe watch a bit of Final Fantasy Farm Rando. But take it easy, everyone, and yeah, see you along.